Welcome to Real Talk Ep.7. I am Brian Rose. We are here in London Real Studios, but this isn't your normal every week episode. This is Real Talk, where we answer your questions in rapid fire. And this is the very first time I've ever had a guest sitting with me for Real Talk. And of course, I chose the one and only Mr. Brad Burton, two-time guest on London Real, the #1 business motivational speaker in the UK, author of Get Off Your Ass, Get Off Your Ass 2, Life Business Just Got Easier, probably another book in the works. You would have seen him on The Money Pit, the Tony Robbins of the North. Brad, welcome to Real Talk on London Real.
I'm made up that you've got me back. Thank you very much. And I think the interesting thing about this Real Talk show is prior to this, we've always done a 90-minute, 2-hour show. This is 30 minutes, so therefore we need to make it count. So get on with it.
You know, 30 minutes, let's get into it. This is going to be quick and fast, and we've made a pledge. We're going to end it at exactly 30 minutes, and I've got a mark here. Question for you.
Go.
So many questions. And by the way, if people want more info about you, they can watch our previous 2 episodes. But someone asked right into it, you're known for being a motivational speaker all around the UK. What's the difference between a 50-pound speaker and a 5,000-pound speaker?
Experience, assets. If you think about me, I'm still the same guy that I always was. My ingredients are pretty much the same, but I've just put them in different levels and different amounts, and my recipe is different. So I think it's down to experience. I think it's down to experience, and I think it's down to assets. Because if you think about my assets now, if you go and Google the UK's #1 motivational business speaker, you'll find pages upon pages. I've got 3 books, all the sundry stuff associated with that. So that's the difference between a 50-pound speaker. Because I tell you something, I get paid thousands of pounds to speak now, and honestly, I'm still the same guy that I was 5 years ago. The difference is there's that quality about me, there's the assets there, there's the photographs, there's the heritage, there's the track record. That's the difference.
And we were talking about assets earlier. We were talking about London Real assets. And everyone has assets. They just don't think about it. Everybody has IP, and they don't even know they have it, right?
Yeah.
And so for us, if I think about it, it's all of our previous shows.
Totally.
It's knowing how to film in shows like
But
this,
the thing
right?
is, Brian, here's the thing with what you've got. It's a whole lot easier for you to get a bigger tier guest now as a result of the previous guests that you've got. When you think about London Real, how long have you been? I'm interviewing you. How long have you been going now?
4 years.
Right, okay. So when you first started, you didn't know what you was doing. You was making lots of mistakes, and I think that's what makes an amazing speaker and a 5,000-pound speaker is that they've made all the mistakes, so they don't have to stand there with a microphone that keeps feeding back, not knowing what to do. So that's what it is. It's a 5 grand speaker is someone who's made all the mistakes in a field.
Right. You were telling me about making mistakes, and that's what makes an expert in someone an expert in their field is because they've made all the mistakes.
Absolutely, that's me.
That's you, right?
Yeah, totally. I've made lots of mistakes in my time, and one of the biggest ones I ever made was I was speaking in front of 200 people, probably the biggest gig at that time that I'd ever spoken in front of, and I had a stick mic. And I was speaking, it just kept feeding back. And actually, what I did is I just kept talking for 20 minutes. Right now, that would be going down and say, you know what, Terry Wogan said, never work with animals, children, or in this case, shit AV. Come on, move forward, guys. So that's what allows you to do that. And as a speaker, I've died lots of times, but you've got to do that in order to get from 50 quid to a 5 grand. You've got to make lots of mistakes lots of times. And I'll tell you something, a lot of people don't want to do that. They're not willing to die on stage and have the ability to recover from that.
Right, and a lot of people just don't want to go to where the fear is, don't want to get uncomfortable, but you've got to make those mistakes.
Okay,
right.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
I was speaking paid gigs probably 6 weeks ago. I got 2 paid gigs corporate. I swear to you on this one, I was outside going shit. Right, and I remember ringing the wife up and said, if I could, Men in Black style, press a button and disappear, I would do. And that's what you've got to keep doing. You've got to feel that fear and keep going, even though it scares you to death.
Are you still afraid of things? That's what people wanted to know. They're like, Brad Burton, you're cruising around, you're on TV, you're going to the business shows, and you're 200% oversubscribed.
Mate, even I'm waiting for the fucking, I don't get it. It's mental. The business show the other day over at Olympia, my God, I mean, literally 200 people outside that couldn't get in to see me. And, they've got some people that are worth 200 million quid, some dragons there, and I'm getting more people to my seminars than those guys. And this is the question that I'm asking myself, why is that? And it's down to that, what I believe I bring now when I speak. I'm lighting up now. What I believe I bring when I speak, I bring hype, wisdom and crowds. That's what I do. And if you think about all the speakers that all the professional speakers, do they really bring hype? As in, before an event, do they bring wisdom at an event? Maybe. But did it bring the crowd? So that's what I think I've got those secret ingredients. In terms of me, do I get nervous? Absolutely, 100%. I might feign it, no I don't, but I'm telling you now, internally, sometimes at these events, for whatever reason, I wonder about the physiology of it. Whether sometimes you wake up and you're great, sometimes you wake up and you're not. Guess what? I'm human, I'm fallible, I'm unique in the same way that everyone else is. And that's the thing, is that some people think it's just them. They're the ones that are fearful. Yeah, I get fearful. Was I fearful before about this? No. Why? Because the previous 2 times I was. That's right.
Right, and now you knew it was going to be cool.
Exactly.
A lot of people watching want to speak themselves. They want to learn how to public speak. You said something very cool to me earlier. You said you take 3 things away from a speaking engagement. Right. You don't always get all 3. No. What are those 3 secret things?
So every time you speak, you're going to come away with 3 things. You're going to come away with experience. You're going to come away with an asset, in the case of a photograph or video footage or a contact, or you're going to come away with cash. So think about that. You're going to come away with experience, asset, or cash. It's rare you come away with 3. And if you look at my speaker flyer, which I've shown you before, it's got amazing assets on there. It's got amazing photographs. These have been built up over the last 10 years. So if you think about it, even down to me losing weight. So am I, and I said this before to you, never trust a fat motivational speaker. You know, I was a motivational speaker and I was 17.5 stone. How can I be considered credible if I can't even motivate myself to lose fucking weight? So that had to come down. So all these factors as an asset, as me as an individual, you know, I've had to sort everything out. Everything from experience, everything from my photographs, everything from my weight, it's all in the package.
It's a great point. If you're going to go speak somewhere, we always forget about the assets. I always think, oh, I hope we get a good picture. But you got to get that picture and get that video clip, because that builds. And you should see Brad's brochure. And you know, my first reaction when you give me the brochure is, we're in the digital age. I don't need this.
No.
But that's not true.
Absolutely.
And you post people those things in the mail.
Old school. What? Yeah, as opposed to sending them a PDF. No, but this is the thing.
This is the good stuff right here.
How quaint that I actually send people a flyer when I could send them a PDF and they get it instantly. But no, I send them a flyer, and what happens? They get a book and they get a nice smiley face and a thing. Hey, I'll speak to you next week, Jill. Boom, gone. How impressive is that? Because it's not just the person who rings you up to book you. So for instance, if you think about me getting booked as a speaker, what happens is a PA will be tasked by the MD to go and find the speaker. She'll Google motivational speakers. I'll come up on Google as number 1, number 2, the UK's number 1 motivational speaker. They'll make an inquiry. We'll send them a leaflet. We'll send them a book. And when Janine, the receptionist or the PA, gets that, what she then does is she then goes to the MD and says, here you go, MD, this looks good. And he goes, fine, signs a check. If I didn't send the book, which is an asset, bear in mind, assets again, if I didn't send the book, didn't send the flyer, and somebody who's a competitive speaker did send a book, did send a flyer, guess what? They've just beat me to the punch. It's like a boxer with the jabs. You've got to beat people to the punch, and you've got to do what other people don't expect you to do. So yes, it cost me, I don't know, 11, 12 quid in order to send it. So fucking what if you're getting booked for thousands of pounds? Brian, I'm heating up now. Let's have it.
I love this stuff.
Boom.
So create that physical brochure
Totally.
And build on it. And you were showing me the pieces of it, and you're like, look, a year ago I didn't have the picture of this big crowd.
Right.
I didn't have this
Facebook
corporate logo.
Facebook verified.
Facebook verified, right?
You know, so you've got
corporate
this,
logos.
Yeah, Dave Channel.
Right,
you've got
Dave
JCB,
Channel.
Sage. You've got Zero on there. You've got Bentley. So all of a sudden, Janine on reception gets this. It's got Zero, Bentley, and the lights on there. She's looking at the book. She's Googled it. She sees me on TV. She sees a show reel that she can find at bradburton.biz. And that's the key to it. So all of a sudden, everywhere you look, it's like a Hollywood film set. Everywhere you look, it looks the part, and that's what's going to happen. And you cannot show any weakness as a speaker, because if you show any weakness, guess what? They're going to the person who doesn't show weakness.
Right, and I would say the same lessons apply to any business you're pitching anywhere. Everything.
This exudes quality. And you know, I've talked about your curtains. They're not cheap, right? You could have probably got them for 1/10 of the price. But there's a reason that you paid big money for these, because it's quality, and people pay for quality, and that's why you can get guests like Chris Eubank in here, because it's quality. You know, whereas actually, if you're doing it from a coster, nah, you ain't going to get your top guests.
Good point. Very good observation. Talk to me about television. People seeing you on Dave TV recently. Tell me the truth about TV. Is it another part of that asset building piece?
Absolutely.
Is it going to make you famous overnight and you can retire the next day?
Let me explain something. You know what? This is the thing. Those days of retiring the next day are finished. I've realised that there's no retiring the next day. It's taken me 10 years to get to the point where I can retire next day. You know, will the TV mean that I'm coming out of China Whites with Jordan pissed up? Probably not. But actually, is that what it's all about anymore? What it's about is about assets, because I've done Newsnight, BBC's Newsnight. I've done Newsnight. I had an interview with BBC Question Time. So I'm now on the roster for the 4th panellist on Question Time. That would never have happened 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So somewhere along the way, BBC Question Time have heard about me, they know about the video, they look to the assets, and they go, you know what, let's speak to this guy. I've passed that post, boom. So that's what it's about. It's a whole lot easier to get on TV when you've been on TV. It's a whole lot easier to get on London Reel when you've been on London Reel.
Yeah, well said.
By the way, can I just say,
Yeah.
how many people have I put to you to get them London Real, and how many times do you just blip them? This is the thing. It's true, because it's not like you just accept everyone. So therefore, when I send you someone and say, hey, look at this guy, somewhere along the way, the assets aren't strong enough for you to go, it's a yes.
This is a good point. Brad's saying that he sent me names of guests, four names that should be on London Real, and I just never got back to it because they didn't have the assets to make me say, I got to have this conversation.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that's the thing, whereas, I give you the flyer thing with me, you go send that to anyone. I can pick the phone up to any organisation in the UK and I can ring them as Brad Burton. They'll go and Google my name and they will see pages upon pages upon pages of assets saying I'm the UK's #1 motivational business speaker. And as I said to you, people say to me, Brad, how did you become the UK's #1 motivational business speaker? I just made a fucking website and said I'm the UK's #1 motivational business speaker. That's all you got to do. Because I realised if I was to ask your audience who's the global best motivational speaker, 9 times out of 10, people would say Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
If I asked 100 people in the UK who's the UK's #1 motivational speaker, I don't know, 100 people would give me 100 different answers. And that's what I realised. I'm thinking, this is like having a £20 note on the floor of a nightclub. If you're not picking it up, I fucking am. Shoes that fit, and that's all it is. And actually, somewhere along the way, I've become the UK's #1 motivational business speaker. If I said to you, I'm the greatest, who am I talking about? Muhammad Ali, was he the greatest? He got beat 3 times. Come on.
Yeah. And there's a great book called The 22 Laws of Immutable Laws of Marketing. And they say, don't be number 2 in a big market, make your sub-market and be number 1, which is what you're doing.
Niche in small business and so.
And that was the next question. Fake it before you make it.
Totally.
That's
but that's great until such a point when you're being a boxer and you're faking it and you get a punch in the mouth. This is the thing. There comes a point when you've got to be real. So yes, I faked it massively, but there comes a point when actually you've got to back up what you say you can do. And that applies to any level of business. So yes, you can blag yourself. I did it with my business. My first business, I had to be misguided almost in my belief because I'm fucking on paper. I've got no reason for me to be able to run a business of the magnitude that mine is. So I had to blag myself, but there comes a point when actually you need to be able to do what you say you're going to do and not just bluff it.
And that means you got to put yourself on the line, put yourself in tough situations, get through those and get better. And that was you speaking all of those years, getting up in front of crowds.
Even now, don't ask me what went on that week. That was the first time in the history of my speaking career that I got booked twice, quite heavyweight, in 1 week. And yet my mind started playing tricks on me. And this is the thing about your mind. When you go to the gym, Brian, you go to the gym and you train 4 times a week. You train your legs, you train your arms, you train your muscle groups. What muscle groups are you doing today? When was the last time that you trained your brain? Because it's a muscle, like every other fucking muscle, but we don't do it. We just keep putting more and more weight on. And that's one of the reasons that I unraveled, which we talked about before. I had a nervous breakdown 3 years ago because I just felt that this could just put as much weight on me and it unraveled. So somewhere along the way, going back down to this whole piece about me speaking, yeah, I get nervous. Sometimes. And then sometimes I'm supremely confident. Fucking, I have no idea. Is it physiology? Is it chemistry? I have no idea, but it happens. Why is it that you can speak in front of 500 people today and be no problems, and then the next day you cowering? I have no idea. Called being a human.
But you push through.
Oh, you've got an option because you're booked and you're getting paid lots of money.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
When are you going to roll up here with your Lamborghini? When are you going to fly in with your private jet? When is Brad Burton going, Puff Daddy on me? Because I never know which week it's going to be. You're tweeting out pictures with all your high roller friends.
No, I get it. Listen, well, here's the thing. My idea of being Puff Daddy is wearing brand new Adidas Superstars. And as
great
I said
looking
to you,
shoes.
Hey, listen, great shoes, but you know what? They'll be coming off. When we finish this interview, they'll be coming off and going in the bag and swap with other ones. See, I'm letting you into the secrets. I'm saying, hey,
that's an asset. Right?
So go, absolutely. So when I get booked for JCB, they would not want me to turn up in a 3-piece suit and a pocket watch. They'd be disappointed. They want me to turn up in jeans, trainers, and Adidas, by the way, if you're listening, do come and speak to me. When am I going to turn up with a Lamborghini? This is the thing. I've just changed completely because my motivation back in the day when I started my business off was all this. I wanted a Lamborghini. And I'm like, what a load of shit. 3 years ago on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being happy, 1 being miserable, I was a 2 or a 3. I was broken. I was making a load more money than I am now. Right? I had a nervous breakdown because of the pressure of work and that striving for success, striving for the decent things, because we can't all be Peter Jones off Dragon's Den, coming out of a Learjet, rushing to the next meeting, and then when you finish your meeting, having a game of tennis with Richard Branson. But we've been told that that's the dream. That's what the commercial dream is, that you get a big tower of business success with offices and people working for you. I've realised that that's not what my life's about. I'm not interested, and I've got to ask this question right now, which is how much is enough? Because I'm in a position right now where, from a financial perspective, I've got everything material that I want sensibly. Everything sensible that I want. The Lamborghini, could I get it if I chose to? Yeah, absolutely. But am I prepared to work for it? No, I'm not. So this is the thing. People chase chase. For what purpose? A friend of mine, and hopefully he's listening to this show, Ian Dixon, he told me about his mum, and his mum died 42-year-old with cancer. And I've been saying that actually it's about living for today. Living for today, not expensive tomorrow, but living for today. Like, there's no point in saying, oh, well, what we'll do, we'll get a new car in 3 years' time rather than enjoy it. Because, and he said to me, he wishes that his mum would have listened a little bit more to that and actually started living for today. And it's quite a somber message, that, but it's also one of elation. Actually, what we should do isn't focus on shite like Lamborghinis, because I promise you, here's the thing, going back to that happiness scale, the reason that we do stuff like buy Lamborghinis is because deeply, I truly believe this, somewhere along the way we're unhappy. So we can buy nice stuff, and having nice stuff's great, and I'm not adverse to that, and I like nice stuff, but there comes a point, how much is enough? How much is enough? Because what I ask people to do, and this is where I'm at now, is chase happiness, not money. I've got to a level now where I've got a level of income that I'm comfortable with. So would me earning more money, would it make me any happier? No, I'm now at an 8 or a 9 in terms of happiness. So if I got a Lamborghini, nah. So this is the thing, stop it, people, because you're constantly chasing wealth and, imagine, I've got a house, right, in Somerset with 5 bedrooms. I've got a room that I never go in. If I had 10 bedrooms, that would just mean I've got 6 rooms that I don't go in. So how much is enough? So rather than, and this is the thing, I've achieved every single goal at 42 that I ever set out, every single goal. And people say to me, Brad, you need bigger goals. For what fucking purpose? What is the point in chasing? What is the point? I'm happy. That's the thing. So when you're happy, you stop chasing. You only start chasing like when I've done drugs in my time. I mean, we talked about it last time. Been addicted to cocaine 10 years ago, twice now. You've got to do it really good, haven't you, to get addicted twice, right? So you come off it. But the reason I did drugs back then was because I was internally unhappy. Yeah. So my life was shit. So I took drugs in order for my life shit. My life's so balanced now, more than ever before. And I've realised there is no point in continually working to the point where you bust your brain.
Which is crazy, because the reason you're here is because you had that big dream.
Right.
And so many of us chase it. They chase the Branson lifestyle. I want the island. I want the, like you said, all the other nonsense, which probably most of it is marketing anyways.
But even if it's not.
But even if it's not, yeah.
But even if it's not, does Richard Branson really find solace? Because I went on a Disney cruise, fabulous. Took the family there, and that's what I do it for my family. And we went on this Disney cruise, and they sold it beautifully. They said, you know what, we've got our own private island. And when I'm telling my friends, I'm not telling my wife's going, oh, we're going on a private island. When you get off this cruise ship with 5,000 other people, that private island is just like every other fucking beach in the world with 5,000 people on it. You look left, you look right, you've got thousands of people. So you're just blagging yourself, and that's what people do in life. That's what people do in business. They blag themselves. That actually, it's about fucking hyper wealth. It's bullshit. I do not want a Maybach to feel happy. I don't need it anymore.
When you see someone with a Maybach, do you wonder a little bit? Are you like, I'm not sure they're happy? That's a tough question.
Yeah,
but
no,
this is real talk.
It is. I don't believe they're any happier than you or I, because I tell you something. If you used to ask, when you look at any business or business owner, at no point on their balance sheet or their profit and loss does it say director happiness. It doesn't do that. All it talks about is profit and the likes. Once again, let's just go back to me. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm an 8 or a 9 in terms of happiness. What would make me more happier? Really, what would make me more happier? Fucking very little. So I'm balanced, and I realise that this is the thing. If you've ever played blackjack?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so you play blackjack, right?
Blackjack.
So it's about getting a king and an ace, and you've got blackjack, and you beat the house, and everything's fabulous. But guess what? Playing blackjack, you've got to get 21. I'm on a 19. I've got a 10 and a 9, and I'm fucking sticking. I am sticking, Brian. I'm not interested in hyper wealth. I'm not interested. And I wonder, the question I've got to ask myself is am I saying this because I've sort of reached my peak, my glass ceiling? Have I run out of ambition or ability? I'm writing a 4th book at the moment called Now What? What Now? I always get it wrong, right? What Now?
Okay.
Right, I said, Now What? I can't remember, right? But I'm writing that at the moment. And the question I've asked myself, one of the chapters is called Ambition or Ability. And I'm questioning what has run out. Because one of them's run out. Is either ambition or ability. And I don't know the answer to that.
But you're okay either way, because you're at that happiness sweet spot.
Right. So let's just go.
Do you think you can hold it, or do you think it's going to be a cycle and you're going to get down to a 3 or 4 at some point?
No, I don't. But I would quite be happy between 6 and 8. 6 and 8 forevermore. Perfect.
Right.
Because there's always going to be stuff in life that causes you to be sad. Right? Always going to be stuff in life that causes you to be sad. But one of the things that people do is potentially they create themselves sadness. So let's just go back to the sliding scale. So there's my happiness is on an 8 or a 9, and my finances are here. So I can earn more money, but I think all of a sudden my happiness, because of stress levels, I'll be seeing less of the children and so forth, will start moving about. So there's that sweet spot that you've got to get. And if you think about it like a rev counter, like redlining or not, you know, back in the day when I unravelled, I was in 4th or 5th gear going 9,000 miles an hour, 9,000 revs, causing myself problems. Now I'm in 6th gear, 2,000 revs, fucking lovely. In some respects, what's great about this is, you know, one day I won't be here, and hopefully a legacy that my children can see that Dad has found the answer to life, and it's not based in money. It's not based. I mean, when you get to a point, my friend of mine, he's got £250 Armani jeans, like you walk in his wardrobe, lights come on, he's got hundreds of pairs. He's got a drive-on lawnmower. Just shit. So when you're buying a drive-on lawnmower, you know that actually your life's empty. Because actually you've got a walk-in wardrobe with different things, and he goes into these Armani stores, and when you get a pair of jeans, they then wrap them up in this lovely thing and put them in bags, and it's all...
I get your point.
Right.
I get your point. So you said recently to me that you were lucky, you've been lucky the last 10 years. I mean, you were unlucky before, but it was a frame of mind, right? And you said at one point you were sick and tired of being sick and tired, or you were sick and tired of accepting that was good enough, right?
Yeah, so what happened with me is I had someone come up to me and said, "Oh, Brad, you're lucky, right? Lucky,
You're lucky.
you know." So I'm the highest rated business author on Amazon. Lucky, you know, started for networking, I've run 5,000 meetings across the UK. Lucky, UK's number one motivational speaker. Lucky. Well, guess what? Prior to this point, up until 31 years old, if you'd have asked me about my life, I'd have said I'm unlucky. I got shot at. I've been addicted to drugs twice. I've got no job. So somewhere along the way, what we end up doing, and we're all guilty of this, is confusing bad decisions with bad luck. Right? It's fuck all to do with luck. Down to me. I threw the switch in my fucking head, and that's what I want your guys to do. I want them to throw that switch. I want them to look at this and go, you know what? Fucking am I dicking about? Stop blaming Clegg Cameron, the Eurozone, ISIS, fucking nonsense for the shit that goes on in your life. You got locked in a coal shed when you were 7. Fucking stop it. Throw the switch in your fucking head. I'm so unexceptional. There's fuck all about me. And somewhere along the way, I've applied myself. It goes down to this ingredients that I talked about before. You know, I've always had the same ingredients. Years ago, I was great at chatting girls up. So actually I've just applied it now to being good at talking in front of business owners. So I've always had that. They've always had that ingredient, but not very good at applying it in the right way. And the same goes with all your audience. They might have the right ingredients, they might just not have the recipe right. And that's the thing that requires some work. But it requires you, as an individuals and your audiences, to go, you know what, it's fucking down to me. Stop fucking looking to these sky gods, sky daddies for your answers.
Do you remember what the instant was in your life where you were just like,
yes,
I'm just not going to do this anymore?
Yes,
what
absolutely.
Was it? What was
so
it?
I was working over in the company on the A13, living in Somerset, living in Somerset, and had digs over in Buckhurst Hill, £300 a month. I was on 30 grand a year or something like that, and I worked out that actually with my travel costs and my digs and everything, I might as well have been on 16 grand a year in Somerset, flipping hamburgers. So this is the thing, what we end up doing, we end up blagging ourselves. So I'm giving the headline that I'm on 30 grand a year. Actually, when all the costs are taken into account and all the driving to and from London, I'd be on 12, 16 grand. So this is what I'm saying, we end up fucking blagging ourselves. So what happened with me is I was going back from these digs at 8 o'clock at night, and so from the work to the digs, to be away from my family, my newborn boy, baby Ben. I went past a guy going in a house in Essex with electric gates, and I had a Mercedes or BMW, always remember that. And I remember thinking I could work 80 or 100 hour weeks for these fuckers, and guess what? I'm never going to be afford the electric gates. And it was the penny dropped. I went, fuck me. Everything that I've been told about life and work hard, you'll get yours. Bullshit. All I could wish for is get a promotion, get 3% increase or 5%. Well, you know, the increase on the fucking, the inflation's 2%. Well, what we're going to do, Brad, we're going to give you a bonus, 3.5%, fucking 60 quid a month extra. Fucking great. For your life, 31-year-old, guess what? I'm never going to get any younger than this. One day, my life's going to be fucking finished. One day, your life's going to be finished. So you can go and fucking dick about all your life, not been about waiting for perfect conditions to start your own business or waiting for perfect conditions to change your life. And then one day it doesn't come.
Somebody asked a question, is entrepreneurship the only way out of that? It's a perfect thing to ask you right now, because you were working for the man, you might get a few percent, but you were just playing yourself or blagging yourself, as you
totally,
say.
yeah,
I'm translating for the Yanks.
Yeah, thank you.
So is that the only way? I mean, I'm not...
Look, all I can talk is about me, right? What you've got to do is you are going to be deeply unhappy if your goal is a Maybach. You're going to be deeply unhappy if your goal, a Jay-Z fucking Prada £2,500 boating shoes, if your goal on your vision board and you live in fucking Clapham is a fucking Sunseeker yacht for fucking 200 million quid. You're going to come unstuck. And that's why people end up broken, because they end up fucking... What is your dream? Because when you was a kid, Brian, you wanted to be something, a fucking train driver, a fucking astronaut, a ballerina, whatever.
Astronaut.
Right. And then somewhere along the way, you end up fucking being 27 in a shitty job in the bank and going, hang on, this wasn't what I fucking signed up for. And this is the thing, we just go through, unassuming through our fucking life, not taking it for granted. And here's the thing, we take life for granted, should I say. Here's the thing, if I was selling extra days of your life, and I had a chat with God, whoever he is, I'm not religious, right? And he said, you know what, I'm selling extra days of your life, you can sell them to people for £1,000. How many would you want? Fucking none. If you knew you had 1 day left, how many would you want? The fucking as many as you could afford, you'd sell the fucking lot. All this camera gear would be gone. But what would you do with that last day of your life? What would you do?
Hopefully everything.
Right, but you know what? You're going to say the things that you want to say to your daughter, right, and to your loved ones. You would. And I say to you this, why wait? What are you waiting for? Because somewhere along the way, we think that we're always going to live forever. Somewhere along the way, we think, actually, we take everything for granted. So this is what I say to people. Do yourself a favour. If you're listening and watching this now, go and grab your phone. I'm going to ask you to do one thing. Grab your phone, and I want you to do this. I want you to text a loved one this message. I love you, comma, you know, question mark and a kiss. Go and do that right now and watch the magic that happens. Because somewhere along the way, we take it for granted. We take our loved ones for granted. We take our children for granted. And having nearly lost everything, we talked about in episode 2, I'm not prepared to do that anymore. So that's why I'm living every day like it's my last, but not dicking about with stupid fucking sports cars and working so fucking hard. It's all about my children now. It's all about my making a positive difference. I mean, it's just listen, I'm from fucking Salford, Manchester. I'm a street kid. And somewhere along the way, I'm thinking like this. But some people don't get to this realisation until they're at the end of their fucking life. I'm 42. I've got, hopefully, fingers crossed, my fucking life ahead of me to pass this wisdom. And what I'm sharing with your audience right now is I'm trying to share it with them so that they can wake up in the same way that I'd walk myself fucking down. I'd walk myself down into a life that I'd never signed up for. Somewhere along the way, I'd fucking got myself in a cul-de-sac that wasn't what my life was about, but somewhere along the way, I'd walk myself down. Me. Stop fucking blaming the people around you. Stop blaming your dad. It's down to fucking you.
Amen to that. 3 more questions. We're rapid firing here. Public speaking. I got 3 people that want to say, how do they become a better public speaker? 3 tips. I mean, these are guys that are coming in here saying they don't even know how to get on stage. What would you tell them? Baseline.
Well, I run an event called Brad Can't Be a Better Speaker, so Google that. Go onto my bradburton.biz website and you can look at that. The key to speaking is this. You need to understand the question, why are you doing it? Right, that's a fucking great question. Why do you want to be a speaker? Because actually, you've got to be a real head the fucking ball to walk into a room with people that don't know you and win them over. That makes no sense. If you put it like that, you go, fuck it. So if you're doing it because you want to make a load of fucking money, well, guess what? You're in for 5 years. 5 years of struggle. 5 years of struggle. 5 years of dying on stage. 5 years of feeling like shit. Here's the key to speaking. Start capturing your thoughts. Every time you think of something that's cool or might be funny, put it down. That's what I've got. I've got fucking pages of this stuff like Bob Monkhouse's joke books. Capture your thoughts. Don't let it go. And then what you can do is then you can weave them into a narrative, which is what I do at Brad Camp. Sales pitch over.
Okay. No, that's good. That's good. All right. So, but don't do it for the money. And don't do it because you want to one day be a professional public speaker.
Well,
that's a tough end goal.
It's a bit of a myth. So everyone, you know, when I started off as this, right, so I never set up, when I was born, 1973 in a Hope Hospital, said, oh, guess what, I'm going to be a motivational speaker. What happened is I've been speaking at my networking events for networking, and what's happened is people go, oh, Brad, you're really inspirational. Thank you. And then more and more people are saying you're really inspirational. So somewhere along the way, when you're fucking hearing that day in, day out, why don't I become a motivational speaker? Because people say, that was it, I fell into it. So if you've got to ask this question, how are you fundamentally different to any other speaker? Because if you're not fundamentally different to any, well, I've got qualifications, that's great. You look at me as a speaker, how am I fundamentally different as a motivational speaker? No one's daft enough to swear like I am. No one's forearms, t-shirt, jeans, train. No one's out there doing it. So actually, if anyone comes into my space, which is what we talked about before, I've created a niche. I've created a niche of one. Anyone comes into my space, then guess what? They look like they're trying to copy the market leader.
Right, and no one does what you do. The T-shirt, everything, that's your signature,
absolutely.
Right?
And also, you know, as well as I do, the reason behind this is because I can't be asked wearing suits. You know, it's just like...
I got you to wear a suit last time for one picture. You were going to wear it anyways.
No.
That didn't stick.
It's not for me, Brad, but I mean, listen, you know, we had a conversation off camera last time, and I respect what you say. It's not for me. It's not for me. It's not for me, because this goes back down to life. Why am I doing it? So before I was conforming, right now I'm not conforming. I'm living my life on my terms. Not just fucking saying it for London Real, right? You know, when people come in here and might say it for London Real, oh yeah, I'm free. I am fucking the freest I've ever been mentally in my life. The freest in my life. I don't have to conform anymore.
Does that make you the most creative right now too? When you're free, do you feel like?
Yeah, I do, but funny enough, I'm writing this book, but my creative juices, I've got all the planning done, but I've just not punchy with it. So what I'm going to do is start this fourth book. I've done two chapters, but I'm going to really hit it at the start of the new year. Look, you know, I had a woman at a speaking gig I was at Ian Dixon's Your Best Year Ever, and I spoke there, and a woman, she started crying when I was talking, and I said, I've got to ask you, what's going on? She went, come here you, and there's like 40 people in the room. I walked up to her, I'm thinking, hang on, she's going to punch me in the mouth. She went, give me a hug. Give her a hug. She went, you know what, 3 years ago I heard you speak and I thought, what an absolute arsehole you are. And she said, you realise that what it was, you're not an arsehole, but what it was, I was jealous. I was jealous of the freedom that you've got in your life. And actually I was in a shitty job at the time. And I'm thinking, who does this guy think he is? And actually it was more about her. That's what I think I'm doing. I'm giving people permission to be themselves. And this is what my tagline right now is, be you. Be you. Not talk about it, but be you 100% of the time. This is the thing, look at me. I am me, and if people don't like me for being me, that's okay, Brian. I couldn't give two fucks about those people. I had a guy come up to me and say to me at one of these fucking networking events, that show last week, your style isn't for everyone. Name one person in the history of humanity, name one person, Brian, whose style is for everyone. One. Right, doesn't fucking exist. So actually, on that basis, why the fuck are you conforming to try fit in with your peer group? Bollocks, find a peer group that you can be you can be yourself.
Oh. Last question.
How long have we got?
2 minutes, 3 minutes. Last burning question. What is next for you if you just concentrate on your happiness, you're not concentrating on making the big bank? What keeps you excited the next year, next 2 years?
So I have a team, a management team now, and I've got a co-director, operations director, Jason Dutton, who's come from a Hasbro background, high-level marketing corporate. I've got Mikey Nagels there, and Terry Cooper. All my management team, these guys are now looking after 4networking on a day-to-day basis. I have not had a hand in it for the last year. 4networking on a day-to-day, loosely. I've had a loose one, right? And we've just seen whether or not 4networking will survive without me. Guess what? It's 21% up. My business is 21% up without me fucking sticking my oar in, right?
That's great. Well, that is great though. That's a great business.
It's fabulous.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, in some respects, you know, what is next for me? And I think what's next for me, Brian, is this, TV, Brad camps. I'd love to work with London Real, by the way, bringing some of this energy to your guys there. But, you know, writing books and actually creating a culture across the UK, a movement of people that can be themselves, because I get letters and emails day in, day out, people saying you've changed my life, and I've actually started believing it now because I get so many, and I think that's what my vocation in life is. You know, for networking, I changed the UK networking scene forever, and now I'm about to change the entire motivational scene, because actually business people, nobody can dismiss me anymore. Nobody can say he's making it up. Nobody can fucking dismiss me as a quack anymore. Nobody can, because I can fucking do it.
Damn right. How was TV experience?
Truth, empty and soulless in some respects. You know, quite proud. My mum's seen it and everything.
Yeah.
But I just think that there's something about it, because it's quite disingenuous TV in that everyone's all smiles when the cameras are on. Showbiz, if cameras are on, fuck it. I don't know. It was an interesting one.
And does the show appeal to the masses so much that it just gets to be watered down and laughs?
No,
that was good.
It was cool. I realised that with the Money Pit, I realised that it was a TV show, and anyone who's seen the Money Pit will see that, you know, I brought a load of energy to it, a load of Brad stuff to it. Great experience, one that I would do again, but I just had to see it differently, because I'm the kind of guy who's a really open book, and I think what it is, when you see a show, it's all fun. When you see the back end of it, it's about looking at the business end of biology, isn't it? Yeah. It's the same principle. Yeah.
Seeing how the sausage is made.
Right. Yeah. You'd never eat a fucking sausage in the world. Right. You just summed it up.
Yeah.
But you'd never eat a sausage in the world if you saw how it was made.
Yeah, that's the damn truth. You know, you said, first of all, Brad came in here blasting earlier. It's just amazing. We had like 4 people here working, and they were just like, oh my gosh, he's the real deal. Yeah. And Brad's like, I got this idea, awesome stuff. You said something about London Reelers, and you were like, you got a whole new audience when you came on the show, and you said it's a bunch of people that are just ready to flip the switch, and they just need to flip it, as opposed to, say, some people that don't know if they're ready, but the London Reelers, they seem to tune in and they're like, we thought about it, we're ready, we're either waiting for something or waiting for the right message. What is it?
I think that's absolutely right. I think people are waiting for permission. See, I've been waiting all my life for permission to be me. I wasn't getting it in corporate. I had to conform. That's why I never succeeded in corporate, because it wasn't me. So I realised that I had to be me. I had to throw that switch. I threw the switch in me. I threw the switch. Me. This is it. Everyone can throw that switch, and it only takes one sentence, one thing that somebody says, one video like this, because I'm hoping that that's what this is about. That some people will go, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna walk out of my job. You ain't gonna starve to death. If you're really not feeling your job, fuck it off. If you ain't feeling the relationship, fuck it off. You've got one life here, and yes, it's a bit fucking painful at first. Lesson. I know we're probably ticking on. I'm going to give you.
Point. Yeah,
I've got two fucking brilliant ones.
Two, give me.
Right. First one, friend of mine, Ian Dixon, right, a coach. He's been helping me lately, and he gave me this advice. He says something called. Have you ever heard the word perturbation?
Perturbation, no.
Right. So it's a chemistry term. So imagine we go and get a tripod with a beaker of cold water on there, put a Bunsen burner on there, and we start turning the thing up. And as it goes from cold to warm, it then starts to get into the point where it's about to boil. Perturbation, just about a bubble. This is what happens in decisions in our lives. I'm going to shit job, I'm going to leave, turn the heat up, fucking about, I'll just start a ball, turn it down. And I'll leave it 6 months, see how I get on. I'm in a shit relationship, and that's what happens. We stay in that constant state of perturbation where we're unwilling to turn the heat up, and that's when, if you think about the biggest changes in my life, it's happened because I pushed through the bubbles I boiled through. The other great, it's a story that a friend of mine, Crosley, I met him on the show. So Cros is an amazing speaker based on from Australia. He's come over here. Wisdom. He's 70-year-old, and I'd love you to get him in here. But he's like 30 years older than me, and his wisdom is like so aligned to me. He beats me to the punch in terms of me thinking. It's mind blowing to see someone so aligned with me. But he talks about this story when he had his garage in his property over in Australia, and he was doing it. It was no roof on it, and the storm was coming in. So he put tarpaulin on the garage. And I was thinking, oh, fucking hell, the storm's coming in. It was like throwing down water and everything. So he went into the house, had a brandy, and went to sleep, woke up the next day. The tarpaulin was still there, but he could have spent all night worrying about the tarpaulin. He said to me, always ask this question, have you done everything that you can possibly do? If the answer's no, what can you do? If the answer's yes, fucking forget about it. And that applies to any worries there.
Amen to that. Give yourself permission. That's the final lesson we're going to leave with here. Mm-hmm. So many people are just waiting. Just effing do it.
And talk yourself into things rather than out of it. That thing right now that you're thinking about doing, fuck it, go for it. If it doesn't work out, be all right.
Right. That's been a crazy 30 minutes, Brad Burton. I love how we did that. I'm wrapping this thing up. If you're tuning in, come join us on LondonRealAcademy.com. We got all sorts of things happening there. I've actually got, I haven't told anyone, an astronaut that's here on Monday. Chris Hadfield, the Canadian who spent like a year up in space. And don't tell anybody.
Commander Hadfield.
Yeah. He'll be here. So if you want to...
Oh, my goosebumps.
I know, look at goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, I know.
Fuck. Whoa.
So,
You
I know,
can't round
I
that
know,
off.
I just hit
Are
you with that.
Serious?
Yeah, so if you want, and you can watch that episode live.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, I know, right? And I didn't tell anybody. You can watch that episode live on LondonRealAcademy.com. I got him here on Monday. I might have Dan Hardy, the MMA fighter, UFC commentator, back on Tuesday. So we're pulling out the big guns here. So there it is. Also, we had Eddie Izzard here about 2 weeks ago, and we just released that to London Real Academy members, so you can watch that right now, or you can wait till Sunday and watch it for free. So there you go. This has been Real Talk with our first guest ever. I think we kept it tight.
Good.
That was Brad Burton giving it to you hard, as usual. Brad, I love this. Let's definitely do something together and get our people together.
Love to.
Okay?
Awesome.
Boom.
Thank you, champ.
Thank you, buddy.
Awesome.
All right.